It's time for another Dirt Daily, and we are checking in on this AMC 304. This is a CJ5 chassis and axles, and it has a 304 V8 engine in it that is locked up. I did a video a while back where I basically drained the oil and I found it was like full of a bunch of water, and I pulled the spark plugs and sprayed a bunch of ATF and like penetrating oil down in there, and I wanted to see if the engine would turn. And if not, I have another step that I might try. So I brought up a breaker bar here, and we are gonna just put it on this and give it a yank. Still nothing. Okay. So I kind of had a feeling it wasn't gonna just turn right over by hand. So the next step is I want to fill this engine up with a bunch of diesel fuel. I posted that video and a lot of guys were like, try this, try that. And one guy was like, you know what? On our ranch, we have a truck that doesn't run, or the engine that seems like it's blocked up. We just fill it up with diesel fuel. Just dump it in there. Dump it in the carb, dump it in where the oil goes. Just dump it in everywhere and let it just sit. Let it sit for a week or a month and then come back. And usually that starts loosening things up. So that is my next plan. I have a 5-gallon bucket of biodiesel, and it was actually left over from when we did that stunt where I tried to drive my Jeep across the river, made it float. I got some biodiesel from a place back east, and I don't really know if biodiesel goes bad. Some people say it doesn't last very long, but I have this bucket of biodiesel, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna just dump it in here. And I talked to a friend of mine that works for the biodiesel kind of conglomeration, or he did, and he's like, oh yeah, it'll probably work good because it's like really slippery. So lots of lubricity. We're gonna dump it in here and see if that helps loosen things up. Oh, by the way, if you're ever looking at a CJ5 that's roughly the early 70s, on the frame right here on the passenger side in front of the shock mount, and right above where like the brake line runs into the chassis, right here between these two holes is where you'll find your VIN number. A lot of vehicles have the VIN number stamped right into the chassis as well as into the body, and in some states, depending on which state you're in, such as the state of California, the VIN follows the chassis. It does not follow the body. So if you have a chassis with a number on it, that this qualifies as the vehicle. I'm sure they want the whole body, they want to see everything, but from what I understand, take it with a grain of salt, at the end of the day, this number right here is the one that they want to verify. So there you go, a little bit of lesson on some Jeep stuff. All right, let's get some diesel and dump it in this thing. Here we go. I have got this carburetor pretty much disconnected. There's definitely one bolt that is not easy to get to. There's the gasket. Everything in here looks rusty and bad, but that's okay, because at the end of the day, this engine will either turn by hand or get thrown away. All right, let's see. How do I open this bucket? Oh, there it goes. All right, we have a 5-gallon bucket full of diesel fuel. We have a AMC 304 that doesn't want to turn. Somehow I'm going to try and dump this into that funnel, which will go into the intake, which will fill up this engine, and do it all without wearing all this diesel. Kind of think I'm going to get up on here. Oh boy. I think there's a pretty good chance I'll be wearing diesel fuel. All right. Oh, looky here. This one cylinder didn't have the spark plug in. This was the one that a bunch of water came out of, and now diesel fuel is pouring out of it, making a giant mess. So in all likelihood, that cylinder is the one that's locked up, because that was when it was full of water. That one probably has the intake valve open. That one probably now has diesel fuel in it, which is good. That's what we want. I'm going to dump a little bit more in, then I'm going to dump some down into the crankcase, and then we're going to wrap it up. It's only supposed to be 109 today, so it's a good day to go stand out in the sun and dump diesel into your old engine. This one will probably make an even bigger mess. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I have a buddy that watches my videos, and he will have a field day with this. What are you doing, you idiot? Throw that engine away. Put an LS in it. Oh boy. You're dumping diesel fuel all over the ground. You're gonna go to jail in the state. EPA is gonna show up. Is it all just pouring out the bottom? Oh, it sounds like it's going in. I think it's just about full. Pour some more in the intake. This is basically going to be a cast iron block full of diesel fuel. And it'll either turn by hand again or never turn by hand again. All right, I think that's plenty. We dumped 5 gallons of diesel into this engine, and now we will set the carb back over the hole, let the whole thing sit out here in the sun and cook. Maybe I'll do another one in a couple weeks or a month and see if it turns. That's it for this Dirt Daily. We'll see you guys next time. What a waste of time. That was fun. Dumped a 5-gallon bucket of diesel fuel in an old engine, and now we'll see if that loosens everything up. I have a neighbor that drives a Tesla. She probably wouldn't be happy if she saw me doing that. Why don't you just buy an electric car? Get in it, plug it in, it turns itself on, air conditioning works, and everything's great.